Hey guys, it's Aussie Reptiles here. Now what I'm doing today is the review on the Moss Mat. Good start. So, as all you guys should know by now, Exo Terra, the reptile brand, sends me some products and I review them. This was one of the products I got in the first shipment, along with the reptile hide I've already done, the snails, and the T-Rex skull. All great products so far. So I'm using the Moss Mat today. I'm putting it in this small Exo Terra cage I have here. This is what my green golden bell frogs live in. And I just thought, using this Moss Mat, I'm trying to get as much green as I can in with them because I want them to become more green than they already are. So I thought, why not use this? Now obviously this is a lot more mat than I need. Oh, this would be perfect for my adult green tree frog tank. We could even do that. What I'll just do is I'll fold it up and make it so it fits in here. I'm not going to cut it, I don't want to ruin it. But I'll fold it so it fits in there, and I'll use this as the substrate for my green and gold bell frogs. And then I'll have a big water bowl. Ooh, I just tipped out water on me. It's not too deep, but it's pretty wide. And obviously I'll get a bunch of other things, like this is Exo Terra as well. So is the water bowl, obviously the cage. And then some sticks and so on to make them feel more natural. But yeah, I want to try and get as much green, and obviously this mat being green, hopefully we can increase their colours because they're quite dull at the moment. But let's fold this to size. Not quite sure how it folds, but like I said, I don't want to cut it, so we'll just fold it. So, obviously as I said, you could cut this if you wanted to. I'm not too fussed, and I don't really want to ruin the product, especially when I might use it for another tank later on. But basically, I've got it to size. All I need to do is put some weight down on it in certain spots. So like I'll put a rock down in certain corners. Obviously the water bowl will hold a lot of that weight down. And then I'll just put rocks in the other corners. So basically what I've done, obviously I'll go over it later and do a bit of a overlook of it. But what I've done is I've put the grass down, I've folded it over so it fits the tank, put the water bowl in. And with it being folded over, it kind of doesn't make it flat, but it gives it like a natural looking, like wavy sort of feel to it, I guess. But we'll start putting some of the other stuff in. Obviously pretty much basic small Exo Terra plant. We have an Exo Terra vine, one of many that I own because I really like the vines. Sometimes when you twist them they do kind of like split, but besides that, great little products. Chuck that in there, just gives it the frogs another surface they can sit on. I've also got a little ivy plant I'll put in here as well, and I've got a Java fern which will sit in the water bowl, but I need soil for this, but don't know how I'll do it. So I found this little random little bowl and I'll put this plant in there. That plant should still grow and thrive, hopefully. Not quite sure we'll put that just down in that corner. So what I've done is I've put these little mini stones around the plant and above the soil. That way it kind of just stops the frogs from actually being able to go on the soil itself, just because the soil may contain like insect repellent and so on. So that will stop them from being able to sit and burrow in the actual soil itself. I'm pretty sure the soil doesn't, because I got it from Bunnings and I'm pretty sure it's like pesticides free and all that. But just a little ivy for in the tank. I also have some other little random stones that I've just washed off, and I'm going to put these kind of just in the corners to stop the corners from poking up, which hopefully will stop the frogs from being able to climb under the mat, because we don't want that. So hopefully that stops them. Really not as much green as I would like in there, so I might go grab another fake plant. Now I have a few other fake branches, fake plants and a branch. So I'll put this branch in here. Again, just providing more spots for the frogs to sit on. And yeah, a few other fake little plants, so these little wire ones which we can put into little places like that. And probably back there, underneath that little tiny stone. Yeah, why not? And then also another little bit of a vine thing that I put together. Oops, and I just made it fall out. That can go back in that corner and then put up into there. So that should stop that from falling. And then just another little fake little plant, again one that I put together. And that can go just there because we just want as much green as possible. So once again, the enclosure doesn't look too amazing. What you do now is you chuck the lid on top. There we go, lid on top. Obviously we'll have the UV on top. We'll release the frogs in, we'll get the water in to that water bowl, and then I'll do a proper filming of it and you guys can check it out, so hopefully the frogs enjoy it. So here is the overview of the enclosure. Obviously, as I said, it's not amazing, but it's not the worst. It could be worse. Hopefully the frogs like it. As you can see, there's one of the frogs and the other frog is back in this corner. So yeah, it provides some height. They can sit on the logs and so on, get closer to the UV, or they can sit down at the bottom and they can get back in that back corner where it's nice and shady too if they want. So they've got the UV light, it's Exoterra, blah blah blah, the cage is Exoterra. Pretty much a lot of the stuff in there is Exoterra, or at least the fake things. Everything fake in there is Exoterra, besides the real plants. But that is the slight overview of the enclosure. So that does conclude this video. Here's the tank. It's nothing amazing, but it's not that bad. It doesn't look that bad, especially right now at this angle. Now with the moss mat, I'm not sure if they actually have a smaller one, but this was the small, so maybe they have like an extra small and so on. Obviously the small was too big for this tank, so I did have to fold it. But I don't mind the fold look. Obviously, as you can see, it's a bit more deep. It has like a more depth looking, like a big mossy, a big fluffy moss mat, rather than if you were to just put the mat in the actual size tank that it's designed for. It's quite flat. Obviously it still has like the mossy texture, but I like the way that while it's folded over, it kind of gives it like a wavy, like natural sort of look, like I've actually just got moss in there. Obviously that's the point, is to make it look like a natural moss thing without actually having the moss. So obviously when your frogs are eating crickets and so on, they won't accidentally engulf the moss. Like my anglehead did, unfortunately. It obviously went to eat a cricket and got a mouthful of the real moss, and unfortunately did choke on that. So this, if I had this earlier, it would have prevented that, so that would have been amazing. So I'd say it's definitely a good alternative to having real moss in the tank. And yeah, it's great for frogs. It holds humidity. You can spray it. But as I said when I was doing it, I didn't want the wet water underneath just because I don't want it getting stagnant and so on. But you can do that, especially if you were to have like a false bottom with like hydro balls or just something under there. But yeah, it's great. I love it. Looks good. And hopefully all this green will increase my green and golden bell frogs colours and actually make them green and gold rather than just brown. But we'll see how that goes. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big fat thumbs up and I'll catch you guys in the next one.